yarn workers, it's Liz and I am popping in to share how to work a knotted lattice fringe. This was featured in the Vanilla Cake Table Scarf, which is in the first fall 2015 issue of Knitty. So here I have my finished table scarf. I've taken it off the loom. I have cut half of the header out. So this little purple yarn here is the header, and I've cut out half of it to remove it, and this helps keep this half tidy as I work my knots. So the wider the piece, the more I just cut out little sections and work as I go, so I don't end up having the weft yarn go crazy on me up here. I've also taken a book. It doesn't necessarily have to be a heavy one, but something to help weight your fabric as you work, and I'm going to just push it here out of the way so it gives me something to work against. So the first thing I'm going to do is tie an overhand knot. This little piece of yarn here is my tail that I had needle woven underneath my last pick. So as the pattern calls for, and I will put a link to the pattern and some notes in with the video information. So I'm going to take 4 warp threads, and how I tie my overhand knots is I place my thumb at the base of the yarn and then do this little twisty bit. And then I snug the knot up against the fell of the cloth, which is the edge of the cloth, pull back a little bit, snug it up, pull back. I don't tighten my knots overly so until I have finished, and I can, you know, make adjustments as I go. So I'm going to work those knots across the cloth. Here, I want to point out something here. See, notice how this one gets a little poofy? What I can do now, it helps because these are colored, so I can kind of tell which one it is. You can pull on the individual threads, and that will tighten and tidy up that knot. All right, so now that I've reached the other end, this is how I pull that header out. So just very gently pull on these loops, and sometimes I have a pair of embroidery scissors, which is what I use to cut in the middle so that it's small pieces, right? So I don't cut my warp, which is a total bummer. And I can pull these header threads out like that. And now I can continue tying my overhand knots. I don't want you to get too stressy about making them even at this point. Remember, we're not tightening them up tremendously because I'm going to take the opportunity to come back if I need to. And here's another one that I don't like. I'm not sure which one that is, so you can work each one individually. There we go. And then tie the knot. All right. So I have those worked. Now I can come back, and if I want to tighten up my knots to make any adjustments, see, I can either push them up or pull them back. And that nobody's gonna notice but you if they're off by a micrometer, so don't let it stress you out too much. Okay, now the fun begins, and I, just like many of you, am right and left challenge, and if you read the instructions on this and many other knotted fringes, it may leave you feeling confused because we talk about the right leg and the left leg and the this leg and the that leg. It is one of those things that is much easier to do than it is to read about, and that's why we love the power of video. So the first thing I want you to do is to separate out 3 legs. And I also realize that if you're working with variegated yarns, the photographs can be kind of difficult to tell what's going where. So here we have our 3 legs. So I have to remember right and left too, and I think I got one wrong in the pattern, and I'll make that correction here. So here is my left leg and here is my right leg. So I'm going to start by taking the right leg under the left, and I believe I said under the right in the pattern. So here are those 3 knots. Now I'm going to take the left leg of this 3rd knot, and I'm going to take it over this middle right leg. And right where those 2 meet, I'm going to tie a knot. Okay? So this is the time to sort of shut your brain down and just do what you see. Now this is what I call my setup knots, because after I get these done, the rest of it is fairly straightforward. So now I'm going to tie these 2 knots, or 2 ends together. So that's my left sides of the first 2 knots. And I'm aligning that one with this knot here. So now I can just work across, okay? So I'm going to take, this one's already under the leg. I'm going to take this 4th knot's left leg, bring it over here, and tie the knot here. I don't know if you can hear him, but my Beagle Buster is showing off for you. All right. And then I just keep working that way. So I just take this leg, this left leg, so here's my 3 knots that I'm working, my left leg over the right of the middle and tying it to the left of the first. But this is where, you know, right, left, you look at it, you puzzle your head. Don't think so much about that as just kind of looking at what's going on here. So I have these 3 sides. I bring one over and tie my knot here. I am kind of making sure that they stay in a V, so we can tend to skew it towards one side or another. So here is my knot. I'm bringing it over. If I tie it over to this side, then it makes this leg shorter, and likewise if I tie it over there. So I want to try to keep these legs even here. Okay. All right. I'm just going to keep working this on camera so you can see the whole process. Oop. And I knocked the tripod. It happens. All right, now here I've been lining this up as it goes, but this one looks a little high to me. So I do find it easier if I go ahead and adjust my knots as I work, because sometimes then you start getting your knots that sort of line up in a row. So in this case, it's a good idea to adjust as you work. So over here. And this is a really, it's a great fringe for a decorative runner like this, because it really it shows off the yarn, and it lays fairly flat. For a knotted fringe, the bumps aren't as exaggerated. Here, whoops. I knew that, so I needed to remember to take that 3rd knot, pull it over, work my fringe. All right, now I get to this last knot. I'm just gonna tie these last two together. So it's this left half of these last two knots. And there you have it. That's how I work a little lovely lattice fringe. I like to do all my knotting first before I wash my fabric. So now I'll go give my fabric a bath, and then I will come back and cut this tail flush with the fabric and use a rotary cutter and a self-healing mat to trim my fringe to whatever length I want. If this is a scarf, you may want to leave it long. If it's a table runner, you may want to leave it short. And it's incredibly handy to use on all kinds of finishes. So I hope you have a very yarny day and a good time with your loom, and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.